Today, we're going to talk about why spirituality and sexuality are the same practice. Oh boy, this was like a hot topic, so I figured I'd come back and continue the conversation. And why do I say I know? Listen, if you don't agree or want to hear what I have to say, I'm going to say from the top so I can set this. This is not a conversation for you. That's why I made sure that I put the title correctly so that it would allow people to decide from seeing the title whether or not they wanted to lean in. I am never here for your approval. I am only here to share information with the people that are willing and ready to receive. Everybody else, I'm not talking to you. So, let's lean in on, why I say that it's the same practice. Because here's four things that that need to be present, even if it's not present for you, in a healthy, nurturing, blooming experience in both categories, spiritually and sexually. And that is, first of all, we have to have presence. Are you present in the moment of the experience, whether it's with the divine, God, spirit, whatever word you want to call it, God, your higher self? Are you present? Because when we become present and have our presence with the divine, with the universe, with God, with spirit, I prefer to use spirit, just so you know. The thing that gets to happen for us, we're not thinking about the past and we're not thinking about the future. We are in this moment and we can feel inside of our body the communication, the energy, because it's all energy. And so spirituality is energy with spirit, right? And it runs through our entire body. It's things that we cannot touch. So once we agree that we believe in the things that we cannot touch, that has power and governs our lives, we bring that energy and energy or energetics to a spiritual experience, and we have to be present and have presence. And in a sexual experience, we should be present and have presence. And that presence is the feeling and the energy that is exchanged during both of those experiences. The second piece is intimacy. Now, I don't know about where women and men are around intimacy, but from what I can see in the world, intimacy is something that is no longer sacred, right? Everything is discussed, everything is out in the open, every feeling, emotion, experience, everything that you go through in life is on the internet. And I don't know that that's good. Because where's the intimacy, the interconnection between two humans in a sexual experience, or your personal connection with spirit, or your personal connection with your lineage and or ancestors? Where's the intimacy in that? And when we start to really understand the meanings of words, sidebar, I thank my mother for having me take Latin because it served me in my life, right? And so intimacy is the interconnection, is the privacy, is the sacredness of things. It's the connection between you and spirit, the connection between you and another. It's sacred. It's giving like honor and reverence. And the next one, in this spiritual sexuality kind of connection here we're talking about, the next piece of this that we have to think about is safety. So many people feel unsafe in the world. I get it. I understand. I used to feel that way because we're in a cancel culture and people, because they lack the connection to self and have self awareness and empathy and compassion for humanity, they've lost their connection to empathy for another. So now women just go on a date with a guy and they didn't like the guy and they just go online and tell his name and basically all his information, and or they're on the date and they're taking pictures. Now, how would you like that? And if you're a woman and you say that you don't care, baby, where's your femininity? Where's your connection to empathy? Where's your connection to nurturing and love? That's innately femininity. See, those are the beings of femininity, not the doing. Anytime you have to put on something, dress a certain way, that's the doing. I'm talking about the being of femininity. That's the internal stuff. That's the empathy. That's the compassion. That's the nurturing. That's the love. But if you don't have any of that for yourself and mankind, and you're just out here sharing all of this, kind of I don't care attitude, every time you talk about someone in an unkind way, you're stepping away from your femininity. Every time you push up your face or you have rough behavior, you're stepping away from your femininity. Femininity is not booty shorts. It's not flowy dresses. Femininity is rooted in your character and behavior and your thought process about how you carry yourself and your character and behavior. And the level of intimacy, the interconnection between one and another that you bring. Your presence. Is it calming? Is it inviting? Is it love? Or, and love is fluid and easy and it's not forceful. It feels good. And I understand a lot of people don't know what that is. There's a lot of people that never experienced love, and that's okay. We can teach you that as long as you're open and willing to become the best version of yourself. But and open to healing. And healing is ing, so it's an action, but it requires something called change. And if you're unwilling to change, then you can't heal. You can't get to the ED, which is healed. So if we're on the journey, healing is the action, change is the result to get to the healed. And if you're not going through that process, but it takes a lot of introspection, reflection, and accountability and responsibility to get there. So now the third thing is safety. If we don't have presence and we can't have intimacy, there's no safety. A lot of people in this world don't feel safe sharing. They don't feel safe being with another. And if you don't feel safe, then you're in a state of performance. You don't feel comfortable. You're not relaxed. So you're actually missing out. And the fourth one, I know a lot of people don't know anything about this. It's called devotion. Devotion. The constant caring, loving, nurturing consistently over time. You're devoted to that practice. You're tweaking it, you're self-reflecting, your self-accountability, self-responsibility to show up in those relationships from a place of presence, intimacy, safety, and devotion. I am devoted to being the best version of myself every day, taking full responsibility and accountability for my emotions, how I feel, how I process, and when things are uncomfortable and they're not reflective of how I want to be in my life, I sit with myself. I don't react, I respond. Responding requires you to sit with yourself. Reacting just comes from a place of I'm not thinking about it, I'm not self-aware, and I say things that hurt others. When you respond, you think about the other in the process. So yeah, spirituality and sexuality is the same practice. And you bring, if you really are tapped in and you really want to have amazing spiritual and sexual experience, they go together. So if you're lacking the connection to the oneness of God, then that's why we where we are now. Because there's no devotion to the practice. There's no coherence. Coherence is when we have the inner and the outer congruent, and we create that devotion. So some of the things that help us get there is that you can just start with reflection. Do I have the things that I desire in my life? And how do I want to feel inside my life? Not what you want, not the things you do. It has nothing to do with anyone but you. How do you want to feel inside your life? And I do a deep dive into that because I am, highly sensitive person. And so I feel deeply. I don't do surface. And so because I feel deeply, I have a lot to say about feelings. And I know that we live in a time where most women or have been desensitized. I can just tell by the way they conduct themselves online. And guess what, ladies? Let me just give you a little secret. Let me tell you a little secret. Men do not want to come home to someone that's like them. They don't want to come home to chaos. They don't want to come home to ruckus. They don't want any of that. They want to come home to peace because the world is crazy and they want to come home to presence, your presence. They want to come home to peace, your peace. And yeah, cooking a meal for the man that you absolutely love, cooking a meal to make him feel amazing so that he can adore you. Let me just tell you, it's one of the most amazing feelings that you could have when a man adores you. That part is spiritual. You feel it in your body without even shedding a word. And I want that for you. So it's about softening. It's not about being combative. It's about being agreeable, but being present, not being phony. Getting to a place where you're the best version of yourself, that all of these characteristics and behaviors are innately who you are, not what you do. Whoever the man is in my life, right? Whenever a man is in my life, I make sure that he feels good. And I'm not just talking about sexuality is not just about penetration. It's everything else that goes along with it. And that's some of the things that women need to understand. There's sensuality operating from our five senses. Then there's emotionality. Notice that's the second step. Then we get to that whole dynamic between the sexuality and the spirituality. When all four of those are in alignment, that's where the magic is. And that's what I want for you. So until next time, my name is Thérèse Prentice. I am a sensual living guide and a life architect. And what I do is I just help women design lives that feel so good to live. And what qualifies me? I've got lived experience on the corporate side, on the entrepreneurial side, and being what? A happy wife who was adored for 28 years. And now, yeah, I'm out in these streets single. However, I won't say that there's not a lot of pickings, but there's a lot of damage that's been done. And so when you see the damage, rather than complain about it, be part of the solution. Be a part of the solution. And when you are, everything you desire, you just attract it. So I'm going to leave you with that. I'll be back again sometime soon. I don't have a schedule. I don't operate with rigidity. I told you I'm a feminine woman, so I'm very fluid. So when spirit guides me and my ancestors guide me, I'll be back. And until then, your life is waiting. When are you going to show up? Bye for now.